Big Time Studios' mission is to bring blockchain-based games to the mainstream. So today, the company came out of stealth mode and announced that they're raising $21 million in funding. CEO Ari Meilich, I'm not sure if it's Meilich or Meilich, someone on the panel, feel free to correct me if I've butchered that name, who's also the co-founder of Decentraland, said he plans to bring the first highly rated action title to the market that allows players to acquire, hold, and trade NFT-based items very easily. So he has said this is for a non-crypto native audience. He just wants to make the process very seamless and easy. I know we've spoken about this on the panel before, so I'm going to kick this right down to you, Zach. What do you make of this news?
I dig the mugshot vibe we got going on there. That was fun. Yeah, I know. I think this is a nice little story about the potential evolution of the NFT market, right? In-game economies in video games have existed forever, but they're extremely siloed, right? They're walled gardens. You can command a bajillion points in one game, and those points aren't going to get you much in any other game or even outside of that game itself, right? So the vision here, and we've seen it in the crypto space a couple of times before, but the vision here is to sort of break down those silos and make those assets really work for some of these players of mainstream gaming titles. So going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Obviously, Decentraland is one of the sort of primary sort of metaverse platforms out there. So the fact that Ari is going from that space into the more traditional gaming space, it could be really interesting. Interesting investors here. The interesting promise of potentially making in-game economies more fair and remunerative for hardcore gamers. So that to me is the takeaway. But yeah, time will tell if they're able to make this click in a way that works for your average gamer. We'll see.
The investors are interesting, and the executive team is also interesting. It's made up of people who've worked on, wow, what was that?
The city.
That is the city speaking directly to us, yep. All day, every freaking day.
Okay, I missed you. The executive team is made up of people who've worked on World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, and League of Legends. I am not a gamer myself, but I immediately thought, the people who play those games, what does the process look like to get them playing blockchain-based games and to introduce them to these decentralized games where they can then kind of buy and trade these digital items? Ben?
I mean, I think you make blockchain games look more like those games, right? Like what they really talked about here is sort of making AAA titles. So like the really big like blockbuster ones that get released every few years that have like really intense followings that you can play online and all these other sorts of things. And we've seen a variety of different blockchain-based games, right? We've seen some like turn-based games. We've seen kind of card games, but we've not seen sort of like something like Cyberpunk 2020, RIP that whole release. But, that level of excitement, that level of popular attention. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they're able to do that, how they're able to do like an action adventure game that you could play on, PS5 or something like that. Because I do think, like, again, we talked about yesterday kind of the use cases for NFTs and how this market is developing further. I think this makes all the sense in the world, right? If you're looking about this as collectibles, like if you're looking about this particularly within video games that have their own sort of like status structures and language and like communications and vernacular, like these things could be really important. Like people grind for hours on hours on hours to acquire like rare materials and like tech and stuff like this. And so we reference like Fortnite, for example, but like NFT Fortnite skin or something akin to that, I think is just kind of the exemplary like way for NFTs to go if we're talking about digital collectibles more available to a mass audience.
Naomi, are you a gamer?
I'll jump in. I'm not a gamer at all. I'm terrible at games. I get way too stressed. Like I tried for a long time and we even have an Oculus and there are these zombie games and I get so terrified because I'll see people coming at me, but I just kind of throw the headset off and just like, oh my God, I can't do this. But I will say like it makes so much sense for like NFTs to be in the gamer world, right? Because in games, you're buying all these custom designed skins and accessories for your character and cool objects, but they're walled gardens and you have them in game and you might spend all of your time invested in, getting these treasures. And a lot of people do. They really value it. But it's only valuable in the game. And it would be really cool to see an economy where these things can be traded outside of games. And rather than maybe like blockchain games coming to a fore and getting more popular, just seeing integration in existing games with assets that have cross-compatibility. Maybe all games start to, become compatible with the ERC 721 standard or something like that, or a new standard that people create, so that different games you could perhaps like swap tokens over, swap accessories over, like that sort of stuff could get really cool. And I'm definitely excited to see that world evolve.
Well, $21 million, a lot of big names behind the Series A investment. Do we think, any one of you guys can answer this, is this where all the money is going to go next? Right now, we're seeing a lot of money pile into NFTs. Do you think we're going to see it kind of go into this gaming world next?
Well, there's a lot of money. So. There's just a lot of money right now. You have these crypto native investors who are just sitting on gains, and they have the ability to place a number of bets in a number of different things that may or may not be next. And this, I think, could be one of them, this gaming space, trying to connect with a mainstream audience who all of a sudden is aware of what an NFT is for the first time and maybe more amenable to finding ways to monetize those experiences.